Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
It's cloudy. We still have some drizzle that I'm tracking across the area. I'll show you how long it will last today and into the next day.
Suspects head to court. 2 people charged with killing a beloved Wake County principal face the judge this afternoon.
Plus, trial on hold. A judge delayed the trial against a man charged with killing an Uber driver. What prompted that decision?
Gray skies continue this afternoon, and a few areas will see sprinkles or light rain. In fact, some are seeing that right now. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Lovingood. It's not technically fall yet, though it feels like fall for sure. Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at who could see a wet evening commute.
So we're taking a look first at Dual Doppler 5000 radar. Interestingly, it's probably going to be the same people that have seen the drizzle this morning and that are seeing it right now. And that's because of the setup of the pattern. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But first of all, we're looking at some showers, some light rain here in Johnston County, Wake County, over here around Franklin County, all the way up toward Roanoke Rapids, so Nash County, all the way up almost to the Virginia line. We take a look at the big picture here, and we have this stalled front. This is the same front that moved across the area Saturday night, just hanging out here off the coast. But a low pressure system started to ride up it, and that is now pushing in a lot of moisture. We started to see some clouds late yesterday, and the clouds continued to build overnight, and the clouds are going to be with us pretty much all day today. Here's a look at Futurecast, and Futurecast is not showing a lot of drizzle right now, but we are seeing some patchy drizzle. We'll have a better chance. Watch what happens at 5 o'clock. You can see some of this coming into eastern North Carolina and developing across our region again about the time of the evening commute on through dinner time and possibly up through tomorrow morning's commute. So we're going to talk more about that coming up. Notice it's a 30% chance this afternoon and then gets up to a 40% chance overnight tonight, and that could make for a messy commute tomorrow morning. Now, earlier today, during the morning commute, we had wet conditions here along Fayetteville Street. You can still see people carrying around umbrellas, but it doesn't look like the street is as wet there as we take a look from our Jimmy V camera. It is 67 though, so it is cool out there and cloudy, a little breezy with a dew point at 64. It's 70 in Roxborough, 72 in Fayetteville, but where we're really socked in with the clouds, it's still pretty chilly. I will likely see high temperatures only in the mid 70s. Again, coming up, we're going to take a closer look at the morning commute, and I'll show you when we finally warm up a bit and the sunshine returns.
Elizabeth, thanks. A second person arrested for the murder of Erica Lucas will appear in court today. 18-year-old Dexter Mills was brought into custody yesterday afternoon, nearly 2 weeks after Lucas was shot in Wake Forest. Lucas was a former principal of Rolesville High School. WRAL's Carly Haynes will be in court. She joins us live now. Carly, another teenager is also facing a murder charge in this case.
Yes, we're going to be in that court appearance in just about an hour and a half, but 2 people are facing murder charges here. That's going to be Dexter Mills and then also a 16-year-old whose name is not being released at this time. Dexter Mills was arrested yesterday by Wake Forest police. He turned 18 years old the month before the shooting. Erica Lucas was shot nearly 2 weeks ago at a home on East Nelson Avenue in Wake Forest. Police say she was not the intended target of the shooting and that this was not a drive-by. Lucas was the former principal of Rolesville High School. She was also married to the Wake Forest High School football coach. Lucas died yesterday after being in the hospital for several days in critical condition. Once again, this is a first court appearance, so it's possible the state prosecutor is going to outline some of the basic facts of the case. So we're hoping to learn more about the circumstances leading up to that shooting. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
President Donald Trump is calling for the death penalty and the death of a woman who was stabbed on a Charlotte light rail train. On August 22nd, a man sitting behind Irina Zaruska on the train stabbed her 3 times in the throat, and this was an unprovoked attack. The suspect, DeCarlos Brown, told investigators he killed her because she was reading his mind. Democratic and Republican leaders have traded barbs on who or what is to blame here. Moments before this newscast, members of the Mecklenburg GOP held a news conference blaming Democrats who are soft on crime, they say. In our next half hour, how local and national politicians are weighing in.
A temporary reprieve for a Harnett County teen charged with murder in the death of an Uber driver. Johnson County investigators say the driver was shot and killed inside his car back in January. Ken Smith is here now with the new developments in this case. Ken.
Renee, this incident left the family of 57-year-old Emmanuel Beatty heartbroken. Today, the Johnston County DA's office confirming to WRAL the charges against Travion Brown, including murder, are temporarily dismissed. And here's why. Superior Court Judge Keith Gregory ruled Brown is currently incapable to proceed to trial based on a mental health evaluation. The judge ordered Brown be committed to Cherry Psychiatric Hospital in Goldsboro until his mental capacity improves. Beatty was a father of 4. He was found shot to death in his car in Benson back in January. The Johnston County DA also confirming to WRAL prosecutors do not plan to seek the death penalty and will proceed to trial once the court rules Brown is mentally fit to stand trial for murder.
The CEO of Duke University Health System is stepping down. Dr. Craig Albanese is leaving to become the head of Kaiser Permanente. And the video we're showing you here is from this year's announcement of plans to build the first freestanding children's hospital in Apex. Albanese helped create the partnership with UNC Health that made this announcement even possible. He also oversaw the expansion of Duke Health in the Charlotte area. The company that makes Wegovy and Ozempic is slashing jobs as it struggles to remain competitive in the obesity market. Novo Nordisk plans to lay off roughly 9,000 employees, and that breaks down to about 11% of its worldwide workforce. The layoffs should help the company save nearly $1.3 billion by the end of next year.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, about 300 South Korean nationals were arrested nearly a week ago at a Hyundai plant in Georgia. Now, they were scheduled to charter a plane in Atlanta today, but we just got word from the spokesperson at the Atlanta airport that this charter flight has been canceled. Now, those workers have been held in an immigration detention center in rural Georgia since they were arrested last week.
An SUV that crashed into an abandoned apartment building that caught fire was stolen. Now, this happened at the old Lincoln Apartments at Dayton and Lakeland Streets. WRAL's Ali Calabar shows us the damage as investigators work to determine what happened.
There's damage from the fire and from that crash. You can see it behind me with that gaping hole right there. There's scorch marks, crumbled brick. That's where the SUV crashed into the building. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. You can see that SUV is charred. Durham Fire Department responded to a large building fire around 1:45 this morning. It's at the former Lincoln Apartments. They've been abandoned for more than a decade. When they got here, they found an SUV crashed into the building. It was engulfed in flames. Listen to this, Durham police reacting to seeing that SUV crashed inside the building.
It's kind of weird. There's a car in the building. It's an SUV. It's just very weird the way it's positioned.
We know from Durham police that the SUV is stolen. We're working to find out if the crash and fire are connected. Reporting in Durham, Ali Calabar, WRAL News.
An iconic men's grooming company now calls Durham home. Dollar Shave Club opened its new corporate headquarters in the American Tobacco campus Tuesday. CEO Larry Bodner says the company left California for the Triangle because of the talent pool available here and the quality of life for employees. The new space has plenty of references to classic barbershops and the history of Durham. American Tobacco campus is owned and operated by WRAL's parent company, Capital Broadcasting.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill want to hear from the former head of the CDC. Dr. Susan Monarez is scheduled to testify before the Senate's Health Committee a week from today. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. fired her last month after Kennedy claimed she told him she was an, quote, untrustworthy person. Now, Monarez claims that she was removed from her job because she would not sign off on new vaccine policies recommended by a panel handpicked by Kennedy. A judge has temporarily blocked President Trump's firing of Lisa Cook at the Federal Reserve. The federal district judge ruled that the president's effort to remove Cook likely violated the Federal Reserve Act. Under that law, federal governors can only be removed for cause. The president wanted Cook fired on the basis of unproven allegations that she made false statements on a mortgage application, and that was in 2021, before joining the Fed's board.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, scientists say NASA Mars rovers found the best signs yet of potential ancient life. So you can see there that rover discovered rocks that could give us some clues about the past. We'll give you a live look now at a press conference that's happening at NASA as they're explaining those findings. Now, before you get too excited here, this does not mean that we finally found proof of aliens. This new study only indicates that there still needs to be some more more research here. So either way, scientists say that this is the most compelling hints that we've ever had.
Thank you, Kelsey. Next at noon, Florida machete attack. New body camera video shows the moment an officer was targeted. How that officer is recovering today.
Bus crash injuries. 11 people were hurt in Wisconsin after a serious collision. Hear about the woman charged in this crash, who was already facing a deadly hit-and-run charge.
And child safety risks. Whistleblowers are accusing Facebook's parent company of a cover-up. How they say children were put in danger in VR.
Coming up next, see storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL weather app. Download now for live radar.
A police officer in Florida is recovering after a man attacked him with a machete at a Walmart. Fort Pierce police released body camera video from August 30th. It shows people running out of the store that day. You can see the suspect pushing a cart toward the exit. And when officers approached him, he pulled out a machete, swung it, and cut the officer on the forearm. Police tackled the man and took him into custody. The injured officer was treated and released.
A woman out on bond for a deadly hit-and-run accident in Wisconsin is now charged with another serious crash. Goodness, just intense to look at that. Surveillance video shows multiple angles of the moment the Jeep crashed into a city bus, and two other angles show several passengers bumping into each other and at least one passenger falling down. Now, in total, 11 people were injured. Video shows the 20-year-old woman speeding, swerving in the traffic, and then moments before that crash happened. She now faces 25 felonies and 4 misdemeanors. Officers say she did not have a license in either crash. An early report indicates the deadly 2021 Surfside condo collapse in Florida likely started in the pool deck, not the tower. Previously, there was an extensive study of the partial collapse of the 12-story building. 98 people died. Now, at first, investigators thought degraded concrete supports in the parking garage caused the catastrophe. Well, now they believe this problem actually originated with slab column connections with the pool deck.
A major mishap at one of the nation's busiest ports. Investigators are trying to figure out how 67 containers fell off a cargo ship. Records show the ship named the Mississippi had just arrived from China and was being unloaded. An overhead view shows slippers, blankets, even furniture floating there in the water. The port's fire department used water streams to slowly guide the floating containers toward a nearby loading bay. No one was hurt. Tense moments for a pilot and passengers after a small private plane overshoots a runway in Florida. The FAA released this video showing the Bombardier Challenger 300 sliding down the runway at Boca Raton Airport. It stopped short of rolling onto a busy road. The FAA says the airport's engineered materials arresting system played a crucial role in stopping the plane. No one was hurt.
Today is the climatological peak of Atlantic hurricane season. It's eerily calm. And meteorologist Chris Michael explains how rare this is and why we should not completely let our guards down just yet.
Just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's over, right? Yes, today is the climatological peak of Atlantic hurricane season, but according to the National Hurricane Center, 60% of our named storms happen after September the 10th. You can look back to storms like Helene that moved through in late September. Storms like Florence came through North Carolina after the 10th. But when you look back at all the National Hurricane Center outlooks on September 10th from 2009 to 2024, every single one of those had something either outlooked or named. This time, nothing out there. Again, just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's necessarily over, and we'll show you why here in just a minute. But one of the reasons why we're not seeing a whole lot of anything is some of the dry, dusty air that's coming in off the Sahara Desert. It chokes off some of the development within what's called the main development region. There's also increased winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere that tear these tropical systems apart. But according to the Climate Prediction Center with NOAA, there's two areas of possible development, one of which is near Central America, the other is off the coast of Africa. If anything does develop, you'll be the first to know by checking in frequently with the free WRAL weather app.
Yeah, some people may wonder why is it kind of relatively quiet out there. So we're not done yet, though, just through the peak.
Yeah, certainly not. We still have 2 months of hurricane season to go, and it's not unusual to get hurricanes hitting our coast even in October. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center tracking these light showers that are moving through the area, Elizabeth.
And this is all part of a pattern called the wedge or cold air damming. And you've probably heard us talk about it before. This tends to settle in most frequently during late fall or winter, early spring. And it's those days that are cloudy and a little drizzly and chilly. You remember those, especially in December. It seems like we have a bunch of days like that. But of course, we can have it as early as September, even August. We've had a few days with a wedge already. Here's what happens typically with a wedge. It's a high pressure system that's to our north and east. High pressure rotates clockwise, and it helps to funnel cool, damp air off the Atlantic into our area. In this case, we actually have an additional low that's sitting offshore that's also helping to funnel air out of the northeast and bring us all the cloud cover and a little bit of drizzle. So light rain and sprinkles, lots of cloud cover, and temperatures that stay cool are hallmarks of this particular pattern. So we'll go back again, and you can see on the wide view, there's not that much rain out there. Johnston County northward up the I-95 corridor, maybe east of I-85 is where we're seeing the bulk of it. We'll zoom in, and you can see some of that around Wake County, especially north of Raleigh, around Clayton, down towards Smithfield, west of Rocky Mount, up toward Roanoke Rapids. It's very patchy, and for the most part, it's pretty light. Here's Futurecast starting right now. It's not really showing a whole lot out there, and there's certainly the possibility that some of our western counties are going to see some breaks in the clouds this afternoon, a lot of sunshine. But from Raleigh eastward, we're likely to be socked in with the clouds pretty much all day long. We get closer to the evening commute, we see another wave that comes in. I don't think it's going to be anything that causes you any trouble for the evening commute, but we may see some of those showers to the north of the triangle, and then as we get towards, say, midnight, some of that starts to pick up a little bit. None of this is going to be very intense, but there's 4 a.m. with some rain to the east, and it's possible that it could affect the morning commute tomorrow for some people, especially east of Raleigh. So we'll be watching out for that. Make sure you tune in. Check in with us first thing before you walk out the door tomorrow morning. This is a look at our Garner Tower, and I'm not sure if you can really tell on your TV, but we've got some pretty big drops coming down right now here in front of our Garner Tower, and a lot of cloud cover, of course, as well. 67 is the temperature, and of course at RDU, we're showing rainfall there. It's mainly just some light sprinkles. Temperatures are a little warmer in Roxborough and Southern Pines, even Fayetteville, where we've seen a few more breaks in the clouds, but where it's pretty cloudy, 67 in the Triangle, 68 Rocky Mount, 65 up around South Hill, Virginia, 67 in Morrisville, 68 in Cary, 66 right now in Garner. So it's cool out there. Lots of cloud cover. If we start to see the rain tapering off a little bit, we should see temperatures climbing into the mid 70s, but there are going to be some folks that don't make it out of the 60s today. 84 is our normal high, and we do begin to see those temperatures warming up. By Friday, we should start to see the clouds break up a little bit, and temperatures are closer to normal. We're going to be talking more about what normal really feels like this time of year coming up.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Dangerous problem. Ford is recalling almost 1.5 million cars due to a camera issue. What's causing the issue? That is being blamed for at least 18 crashes. That story at 4.
Plus, endangered sharks for sale. How unsuspecting consumers are able to buy their meat at the grocery store. That's at 5:30. Tipping towers, a warning every parent should hear. 5 on Your Side explains the safety concerns with some kid stool steps.
Paying to get your own money? After the break, we'll explain how you can avoid those high ATM fees. Toddler towers have become a must-have in many homes with little children. They give kids a boost to cook, play, and learn alongside their parents. As Ashley Rowe explains, a new Consumer Reports investigation uncovered serious safety hazards with those tipping towers.
With guardrails and other safety features designed to prevent falls, toddler towers are marketed as a safer alternative to chairs or step stools. But reports of kids falling out or tipping over in the towers surfaced both to the Consumer Product Safety Commission and in online reviews.
There's a really wide range of quality in toddler towers on the market, and safety standards have not been established yet for how they're made or tested.
Consumer Reports conducted its own independent tests of 16 popular models. The results? 13 of 16 towers failed the stability test. The test simulates what happens when a child leans to one side of the tower or climbs up the side. CR reached out to the manufacturers. The 6 who responded said their products passed internal safety tests. If you're shopping for a toddler tower, look for a strong, wide base and with a heavy frame and a low center of gravity. You're going to want to avoid large cutouts and wide rails. And the top guardrail should be above the child's belly button. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
More older Americans are sinking into poverty. According to the U.S. Census Bureau's annual poverty report, poverty among seniors has risen every year since 2020. Programs like the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, Medicare, and Medicaid provide much needed assistance. But due to recent cuts to SNAP and Medicaid under the recently passed Republican spending plan, hunger and sickness will increase among older Americans. The Federal Aviation Administration is renewing a warning for airlines about the risk of lithium batteries on board planes. The FAA says it has tracked 50 verified battery-related incidents through August. Lithium batteries can be found in cell phones, laptops, e-cigs, and hearing aids. The safety alert is aimed at encouraging airlines to consider the hazard posed by stowing items in areas that are not easily accessible, such as overhead bins or carry-on bags.
ATM fees hit a record high for the 3rd straight year. A new report from Bankrate finds the average fee for an out-of-network ATM increased in the past year. The high was $4.86. Consumers can avoid fees by banking with institutions that offer a wider ATM network. Customers can also choose a bank that reimburses these charges. The town of Gardner is already preparing for next summer. Leaders broke ground on a new splash pad at White Deer Park. It's expected to be ready early next year, just in time for spring and, of course, summertime heat. The splash pad will be next to the picnic shelters and the bathrooms. It's part of a broader plan to make improvements at parks downtown.
Deleted or doctored, whistleblowers say Meta told employees to keep negative findings from coming to light. The company's response.
Plus, registered voter, a California woman registered her dog to vote. Why her attorney says she was trying to reveal. And here are the winning NC Education Lottery numbers for you.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are expressing outrage over the video of the fatal stabbing death on Charlotte's light rail system. We have WRAL state government reporter Paul Spey here to talk about this. Paul, why is this murder getting so much attention from lawmakers?
Well, elected officials are outraged that suspect DeCarlos Brown wasn't behind bars while he awaited trial for other charges. But first, some context here. This isn't the only public transportation stabbing in recent weeks. An Oklahoma man also slashed the throat of a random bus passenger just last month. Now, why haven't we heard much about that case? Well, for one, unlike the Charlotte attack, there isn't any viral footage of that one. But also, Oklahoma is not home to a competitive U.S. Senate race. North Carolina is, and that's another big reason the Charlotte stabbing is getting so much attention in political circles. Former Governor Roy Cooper is running for North Carolina's open U.S. Senate seat, and President Trump and Republican candidate Michael Whatley are blaming Cooper's policies for allowing the Charlotte suspect back on the street after he had been charged for a different crime. It's important to note, though, Cooper has been out of office for months now, and the governor does not have much say over who goes to prison or who's let out of jail while they await trial. The Charlotte suspect, DeCarlos Brown, was awaiting trial for misusing the 911 system back in January. And it's not common practice to keep people jailed while they await court for those kind of low-level charges. Now, The U.S. Senate race isn't the only election coming up. Charlotte City Council elections happen this November, and their policies are now under intense scrutiny. State Auditor Dave Bullock said he plans to investigate the safety of the Charlotte area transit system, and investigations like his could have a significant impact on elections in Charlotte and beyond. You can read more about all of this discourse over at our story under the NC Capital section of WRAL.com.
Significant insight there. Thank you so much, Paul. And folks, you can find that full interview with Charlotte transit leaders on WRAL.com by searching the keyword rail.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, the former public works director for the town of Nashville was just arrested. Brian Grice is now facing embezzlement charges. Police searched his home and found evidence of fraudulent transactions. A search warrant says he misused nearly $8,000 of public funds by making unauthorized purchases on a town-issued credit card. His first court appearance is scheduled for tomorrow.
A case to determine if Amazon can be held liable for suicide deaths is now in the hands of the Washington State Supreme Court. 28 families have filed lawsuits against Amazon, alleging the company is responsible for the suicide deaths of their loved ones who ingested a product bought through the site. The chemical is legal but can be deadly if consumed. Attorneys for the families of those who died by suicide after consuming the product say Amazon not only ignored complaints, but they knew the product was being used by customers who were considering suicide.
Algorithm put people in contact with a how to commit suicide book. It put them in contact with antiemetics so they could, they wouldn't throw up the poison.
They're asking and would require you to adopt a specific new novel rule that would make Amazon liable for the conscious decisions that its purchasers make after they've decided to purchase.
It could be months before the court rules. The case could move to a jury trial.
Two former employees claim Facebook's parent company, Meta, covered up potential child safety risks. As Madison Allworth explains, the former employees say the platform's VR system puts children in danger.
Former Meta employees testified on Tuesday in front of the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on Privacy, Technology, and the Law, claiming the company's legal team began screening, editing, and sometimes vetoing internal research about youth safety in VR to establish plausible deniability about negative effects. When researchers found negative effects, whistleblower Jason Sadazan was told it needed to be deleted.
When our research uncovered that underage children using Meta VR in Germany were subject to demands for sex acts, nude photos, Meta demanded that we erase any evidence of such dangers that we saw.
Ahead of the hearing, Meta said the information shared by those former employees did not paint an accurate picture, telling Fox Business, quote, "The claims at the heart of this hearing are nonsense. They're based on selectively leaked internal documents that were picked specifically to craft a false narrative." But the second whistleblower who testified said the tech giant knows and chooses to ignore the harms that are happening.
Meta is aware that children are being harmed in VR. I quickly became aware that it is not uncommon for children in VR to experience bullying, sexual assault, and to be regularly exposed to mature content like gambling and violence.
That was Madison Allworth reporting. Meta recently announced changes that include training AI not to respond to teenagers on self-harm, eating disorders, and inappropriate conversations.
A California woman faces 5 felonies for registering her dog to vote in 2 elections. And get this, one of those votes counted. Investigators say the 62-year-old registered Republican filled out a 2020 voter registration form for Maya Jean Urix, her dog. The form identified the Democratic Party and Peace and Freedom Party as political party preferences. Maya's vote counted in the 2021 recall election for Governor Gavin Newsom, but it was rejected in the 2022 primary election. The suspect's attorney says she wanted to expose flaws in the state voting system. Police say a Florida man used a fake ID and nursing license to apply for more than a dozen jobs. Deputies arrested 55-year-old Joseph Kinney after he walked into a job interview impersonating his roommate. Kinney's nursing license was revoked in 2022. He faced discipline for repeated incidents, including providing false information, driving under the influence of drugs, and unprofessional conduct.
Our Teacher of the Week segment is back for a new school year. Up next, how a Millbrook High School teacher is giving his students a voice through dance.
And an unlikely hero, why a woman who could not swim did not hesitate to help a girl struggling in a lake. Download the newest version of the WRAL News app to stay in the know while you're on the go. It is free wherever you download your apps. Our first Teacher of the Week this school year takes us to Millbrook Magnet High School in Raleigh. WRAL's Ken Smith introduces us to a dance teacher who is adored by his students and praised by parents for making a difference in their children's lives.
Once you get here.
Motion and movement are part of Darius Anthony's DNA. He's transformed his passion for dance to the classroom at Millbrook Magnet High School.
I do ballet, jazz, hip hop, contemporary, modern, like so many more. There you go, cookie dough. Yes, that is my fave.
Anthony's interest in the arts started when he was the same age as his current students as a member of his school's Color and Winter Guard.
I love that. Okay, great.
An interest in teaching it deepened when he took his first dance class in college.
How much time do we need? Like a minute? So,
from the classroom to the stage, sometimes performing with his students, he gives them a voice through dance, listening to them and discovering the dance styles they want to learn or perform.
I want to create a safe space for everyone, a judgment-free zone. Like, this is where people come to feel safe.
Mr. Anthony, you are WRAL's Teacher of the Week. Congratulations.
Now that is some applause. Don't you just love his energy? If you'd like to nominate a teacher, go to WRAL.com, enter Teacher of the Week in the search box.
Honoring those who helped shape Raleigh's story. This weekend, the City of Raleigh Museum hosts the Honoring Raleigh Hall of Fame brunch reception. How you can celebrate this year's inductees and learn how they contribute to the Triangle community.
Perhaps driving in drizzle or clear sailing. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tells us what you can expect during the evening commute weather-wise when the news returns. We have cloudy, overcast skies in Durham, and we're seeing rain in downtown Raleigh. You're looking live at the American Tobacco campus right now and watching WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
So this weekend, the Friends of the City of Raleigh Museum will host the Honoring Raleigh Hall of Fame. And it's the brunch reception as the event honors the impact. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines that we're following today. A second person arrested for the murder of the former Roseville High School principal will appear in court today. 18-year-old Dexter Mills was brought into custody yesterday afternoon. That was nearly 2 weeks after Erica Lucas was shot in Wake Forest. Now, Lucas died at the hospital yesterday, and a 16-year-old is also charged in her death. Police say that she was not the intended target of that shooting.
The charges against a 19-year-old accused of killing an Uber driver in Harnett County are temporarily dismissed. Superior Court Judge Keith Gregory ruled that Travion Brown is currently incapable to proceed to trial based on a mental health evaluation. He is accused of shooting and killing 57-year-old Emmanuel Beatty inside his car in Benson in January.
The town of Nashville's public works director was arrested today, charged with embezzlement. Court documents say Brian Grice is accused of spending more than $7,500 with a town-issued credit card and then attempted to hide the charges. Now, Grice no longer works for the town of Nashville, but it's not clear when he stopped working for the town and if he was fired or if he quit.
A Florida woman who rescued a girl from a lake says she doesn't know how to swim, but it doesn't matter. 11-year-old Mia Garcia was collecting shells with her little sister when she slipped into the water at Lakes Park in Fort Myers. Mia lives with autism. Her grandmother says even though she knows how to swim, she couldn't get out because it was so slimy. Well, that's when Bridget Addison heard her screams and jumped into action.
I don't care who they are, what color, what their disability. I don't care. If you can do it, go and help somebody.
It shows a lot that there are good people out there, and she is one of them.
Addison pushed Garcia out of the water, but she kept falling down. And she says that's how she got bruised. A small price to pay for helping to save a little girl.
Goodness, not knowing if gators were in there. Good for her, helping out. All right, our pet of the day comes to us from Cat Angels NC. Meet WRAL. His beautiful soft coat reminded his foster parents of fields blanketed in snow. Contrary to the cold of the winter season, though, WRAL is full of warmth and enthusiasm when he gets to know you. He is playful, he is lively, and extremely food motivated, and will certainly prove to be a very loving companion with a lot to say, maybe even loudly. To meet him in person, just go ahead and fill out an application on the Cat Angels website.
What to buy before the CPI? Economists are forecasting increased inflation ahead of tomorrow's Consumer Price Index report. Coming up at 4, 5 on your side shares how you can stop overpaying. Find out the best days to buy flights, hotel rooms, groceries, and more.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL with your next local news update in about 30 minutes.
You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.